Hi, so how do you provide therapy for a child with contamination OCD while you're waiting for professional therapy? Hi, my name is Julie and I share lots of videos and I blog about how to support children with contamination and other subtypes of OCD while you're waiting for therapy. Because I know from bitter experience of supporting my own child, waiting for therapy can be painstakingly slow, in which time you can feed the contamination OCD and make it a whole lot worse, which then makes it a whole lot harder to treat. So what do I recommend you can do at home as therapy while you're waiting for professional help? The first thing you need to do is you need to introduce exposure therapy, and the first part of that process that we found easier was to make a list. So find a comfortable spot for your child to sit, somewhere where they're nice and relaxed. I mean, for me, my daughter loved to have a coffee, so we did ours in a coffee shop. It could equally be sat in the car, it could be going for a walk, it could be having a picnic, it could be just in your home. Just find a place where they're nice and calm and relaxed. And then get them to write a list, brainstorm every single OCD issue they want to tackle and write it on a list. Top tip for this, I would say, is to get a coloured piece of card. Get your child to select a piece of card and some coloured paper, crayons, because this makes the task a whole lot more fun and doable for them. So pick a nice calm spot, get some nice bright coloured paper or card and pens, and then get them to write every single list, or if you've got a younger child, write the list for them of every single issue you want to tackle. The next step then is to score each of those items out of 10, with 1 being they feel the least anxiety around it and 10 being that they feel the most. Now, another tip here, chances are each of those items at this stage are going to score very, very highly. So the next part of the process is to pick the one with the lowest score. If they're all scoring equally, then get your child to select which one they're going to start with, and that's going to be your first challenge. So you need to get another piece of paper or card then and put challenge number 1 and whatever that might be. And this is where you're going to start exposure therapy, which is you expose your child to any contamination OCD fears or other subtype of OCD fears for that matter. And they're going to feel uncomfortable, but what they're not going to do is the goal is anyway, not to carry out compulsions afterwards. Now, this can take on many forms. Some people want to reduce on a compulsion. For example, if they're using lots of wipes, it might just be that you want to reduce the wipes and you would do that slowly. It could be that you're going to reduce it by 1 wipe a day. It could be you're going to reduce it by 1 wipe a week. All depends what sort of pace your child is prepared to do it. But the goal is to eventually eliminate that compulsion, but you need to do it very, very slowly and gradually. So it can be reducing compulsions. It can be delaying compulsions. It could be that you want to delay it by 1 second, by 2 seconds, by 3 seconds, and you build up till in the end you are not getting any delay at all. You're just not doing the compulsion. It can be changing hierarchy, because believe it or not, I mean, children can become fixated by certain brands, believing them to be a more safe and better brand than another brand. So for example, you might have brand A, which could be Dettol make wipes, and it could be that you want to get them off wipes altogether. That could involve going from brand A wipe down to supermarket wipe A, supermarket wipe B, and so on, till in the end they're on sort of a baby wipe, the lowest form of wipe possible, and then you would eliminate then the amount of wipes going to be used. It could just be that your child is at such a fearful process in their journey that they won't even agree to do any of these at the moment, in which case you can still carry out exposure therapy, but it might just be just getting them to write the word down, because many children with contamination and other forms of OCD don't even like saying the word they're afraid of. For example, if they're afraid of catching a virus, even talking about the name of the virus can just be enough in itself. So you would then get them to build up to writing the word. If they can't do it as a full word, for example, if we were using the word virus, you'd start with a V, then you'd work up to VI, then to VIR, and so on. Then you get them saying the word out loud. Then you would actually get an image of a virus and put it on the wall. Then you'd work up to them touching it. So these are just some of the ways that you can actually introduce exposure therapy and get your child used to the uncomfortable without relying on immediate compulsion straight after. And obviously the ultimate goal is to eliminate that compulsion altogether. Now, there are a few ways of making this a little bit easier, because it'll never be easy and it'll always be uncomfortable, but there are some ways that actually can help to get your child motivated and stay consistent with therapy. And that is by offering some form of distraction. Like, for example, if they're really uncomfortable about having to delay using a wipe, for example, try and distract that anxiety by having an engaging conversation, like, oh, did I tell you about, or did you hear about, something that's going to get them intrigued and involved in your conversation. Or it could be by playing a game, or Let's Play I Spy, or I don't know, you think of a name. It could be they want to do a board game while they're trying to distract themselves from doing it. Could be they go out for a walk and you notice the things around in nature. You will know your child best and you will know what distraction works for them. But the secret is to try and make the thought as less uncomfortable as you possibly can. Offering rewards is also a brilliant way of keeping your child consistent with therapy. I didn't agree with rewards, but I have to say the rewards are what helped our daughter to come out the other side and to lead a more normal life, because it sort of gives them some goal to aim for and to push them on through the uncomfortable. Again, rewards don't have to be big. They can be as small or as big as you want to. Sometimes it would be a cup of coffee for my daughter, and other times it would be a ride in the car to the nearby coast. Again, you'll know your child. You'll know what currency will work for them. But as I say, offering distraction and rewards helps with exposure therapy. So I hope this has helped you on ways that you can provide therapy for your child at home for contamination OCD and other subtypes of OCD. I now offer workshops to help parents in more depth of how to help with exposure therapy for contamination and other sub-forms of OCD. My next workshops are being held on Wednesday, 8th of June in the morning, or Friday, 10th of June in the afternoon. They're Greenwich Mean Times. Details can be found on my website, which is www.themindmonsters.co.uk, and it'll be on the workshop session. I also, and they're going to cost £45, that's for a 3-hour session. And I also offer books on my website to help younger children age 5 to 8 to tackle OCD therapy as well. And they're my Mind Monsters books. I've published 2 so far, which are Hank the Hungry Monster, which introduces Hank, who represents OCD, and Trixie the Treat Monster, who's the monster who takes on Hank in his new battle. And she represents using exposure therapy, distraction and reward techniques. So there's something for everyone. There's also free downloadable content on there as well to help with child OCD and anxiety. So, and I say very shortly, I will be offering my workshops on a downloadable platform as well, where you can actually download the session in case you can't actually make it in person. All right, so I hope that's helped and it's given you some ideas on how you can start introducing exposure therapy to tackle contamination and OCD and anxiety in your child. See you on the next video. Bye for now.